Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, November 26th. I'm Mark Dent, here with Rob Litterst, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. It is the holiday season. Thanksgiving's just a couple of days away, and there's some really good news on the pricing front. Turkey is pretty affordable this year. It's gone down quite a bit from the highs that it reached in 2022, but sadly, that's not the entire story. Eggs have once again increased in price just in time for people to start baking cookies, and we're also seeing a huge rise in flight prices. So it could be a topsy-turvy pricing for holiday season, and we're going to get to all of that here in a second, but first, let's give you the hits and headlines in business and tech. Starting off, there's some surreal news. Macy's has revealed that an individual employee for the company hit as much as $154 million in expenses over nearly 3 years. There were so many accounting irregularities involved with this that the company had to delay its quarterly earnings report, which was supposed to release today. However, we can't blame everything about Macy's just on this one employee because preliminary earnings showed that quarterly sales for the department store chain had slipped 2.4%. Sticking with Macy's, there is some much better news. According to the Wall Street Journal, its Thanksgiving Day parade is set to cash in very soon. NBC and Macy's are close to reaching a deal that would see NBC paying about $60 million per year for streaming and TV rights. The current deal is worth about $20 million per year. And just for the record, about 28 million people tuned in last year to watch the parade. Pretty good numbers, Rob.
Wild. There's certain childhood haunts that I just can't get away from, and watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade is one of them. I love it. It's so nostalgic. It brings me right back to sitting on the floor in my TV room when I was just a little boy.
That's beautiful, Rob.
But it's been a long time since I've shopped at Macy's, Mark. That is factual.
Yeah, I know. You're right. And I flipped it on last year as well. And I usually do most years, at least for a few minutes. Yeah, I don't shop at Macy's very often either. Maybe once a year, I'd guess. But it really just goes to show like how important it is to have something that people watch live on television. Because, I mean, they're talking about tripling this contract, according to the Wall Street Journal. And you just don't see that anymore on TV, unless it's like, NBA, NFL, or something like that. And, interestingly, this stat I've used many times and so have others, but 92 of the top 100 rated programs last year were NFL football games.
Yep.
8th, though, was this Thanksgiving Day parade.
Unbelievable. That makes so much sense.
So that's why they're going to pay $60 million a year. NBC is going to. Macy's coming in strong here, even though they're not coming in strong very many other places.
Love it.
All right, let's move on to some unlikely brand partnerships. Kentucky Fried Chicken and Build-A-Bear Workshop released a collection of stuffed bear accessories, which include a KFC bucket costume, a stuffed chicken leg, and chicken pajamas. But not to be outdone, Krispy Kreme is launching a line of Grinch-themed holiday donuts. Its Merry Grinchmas donut collection includes a new Grinch-shaped donut that's filled with coal, which is actually cookies and cream filling, and it's dipped in green icing. Yeah, sounds kind of good.
That actually sounds delicious. KFC and Build-A-Bear, it honestly just makes me wonder, like, did two of these executives work together at like an old company or something like that? And they're like, hey, let's just like do this. That's so random, but I don't know. Maybe that's a way to get the kids into KFC, but that's a weird one.
Yeah, agreed. I can't imagine that it would be all that attractive at the Build-A-Bear location, though.
Right.
If you're a child, I feel like you want the bear more so than just like some weird-looking chicken. So let's stick to food. Once a staple of school lunchboxes, Lunchables is having a pretty tough time. It saw its meat, cheese, and cracker kits plummet 12% in Q3 sales, which drove a 2.2% dip for the parent company Kraft Heinz, according to CNN. So there's quite a few reasons for this drop. One of those is, of course, nutrition concerns, which is hardly new because people have known that those things are not very good for you for many years. Mm-hmm. There's new competition, including from Mr. Beast, among other entrepreneurs. And there was also this school lunch partnership that Lunchables and Kraft Heinz tried to set up, thinking they could really cash in. But again, those health concerns caused them to have to tweak things, and they couldn't get it exactly right, and it just didn't work out. But not a good time for Lunchables right now.
No. I'm very surprised that I haven't heard of a healthy alternative to Lunchables. Like, I feel like that is just like sitting there in plain sight for somebody to take on.
I think people are trying to do it. I think it's just way easier said than done.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not going to lie to you. Like the Lunchables pizza, I can still taste it. I could put away a Lunchable right now, Mark. Sodium be damned.
Yeah, that would be a full week's worth of sodium, to be clear.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though. Like, there is clearly an opening if someone can get it right. But it's not easy to put processed food in a little container that's going to be convenient to sell and have it be healthy. That's just the bottom line. So we're still waiting on that white horse, I think.
Yeah.
And finally, some news out of Massachusetts. A federal judge ruled in favor of a Massachusetts school that disciplined a student for using AI-generated text, including citations for fake books. The judge denied a preliminary injunction to remove a detention from the academic record of this child and alter the child's grade, even though the parents' lawsuit remains active. So, in other words, there's a tiff going on here over AI at schools, and at least for now, it sounds like the judge is siding with the school.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I think this is going to become like one of the key debates of our time is how on earth you figure out how to police schoolwork that is using AI. And I don't envy the teachers that are having to do this. It's a really hard problem. I mean, I think we've talked about this before with college kids, but this guy, Cal Newport, he has written a bunch of books. He's a college professor. And he looked at like how his students were using AI, and he said that it didn't give him any more clarity. To me, it's like however you use ChatGPT, like whenever I use it, I will kind of like coach it to write something in a certain way and then kind of like take what comes back and massage it and figure out like how I want to finesse it to make it sound more like me. And it seems like that's what his students were probably doing. And it's kind of hard to figure out like where you draw the line between plagiarism and research, but very, very hard dilemma.
Yeah. Exactly. Or if you just want a full-on no AI policy.
Right.
Yeah, this case, we'll see where it goes, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of them coming forward here in the next few years.
Yeah.
But let's move on to our main story, which, as said at the top, Thanksgiving Day is just 2 days away. But like in many holiday seasons, especially here since the pandemic and in this era of inflation, we're reaching a breaking point while paying for groceries, while paying for all the food that we're going to eat over the next few weeks. Egg prices have gone up by a lot. Flights are starting to get more expensive again. But there is a little bit of good news, though. The turkey is really cheap this year. Rob, let's actually save the good stuff here for the end. But what is kind of going on? What are some of these escalating costs that we're seeing in this holiday season?
All of this, like the big takeaway for me is, I think going to end up in a very, very lucrative Black Friday and Cyber Monday event for most retailers because these prices are so high. I think people are going to be seeking discounts. But retail prices are up as much as 30% year over year, according to CNN. Avian flu, which became a problem in early 2022, is still rampant. And that's ultimately having a big impact on turkeys and the price of our birds. Some grocery store owners are eating the cost, even though they're paying as much as double the wholesale price as a few months ago. And this could also lead to spikes in the prices of products made from eggs, which you just mentioned. Going even beyond that, Mark, holiday air travel prices are up over 25% from last year, which is the highest year over year gain in the price of air travel since the late 80s, which is just crazy.
Yeah. In inflation, year over year has fallen to somewhere around 2.8%, I think,
Right.
under 3%. And eggs, like we're seeing, are up as high as 30%. But for that airline, that's the consumer price index. So, across the board, basically 25%.
Crazy. And you factor in the fact that everything gets more expensive around the holidays to begin with, traveling, basically getting anywhere. It's going to be tough for people. I feel like it's probably going to be an expensive holiday season for pretty much everybody.
And the U.S., of course, has talked a lot about nearshoring and trying to really steady the supply chain over the last couple of years. But this just goes to show that there are going to be problems. Eggs are something that is largely obviously produced here in the U.S. and then sold to U.S. consumers here. But something like avian flu can just wreck the supply chain. It can wreck prices. When you think of like the airlines, Boeing obviously had the strike. And there was a lot of delays with manufacturing for them. There's been job cuts and other delays kind of like throughout the airline industry. So that's led to a lot of fewer parts, fewer airplanes. Anytime it seems like something gets fixed in the supply chain, it just can't quite get back all the way to where it was, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, though, there is some good news about turkey. Aldi, Walmart, Target, they're offering some pretty heavily discounted meals this year. 88 cents per pound for whole frozen turkey at Walmart, 79 cents per pound at Target. Aldi has a Thanksgiving meal deal, $47 for 10 people. And this just comes after 2 years ago when turkey was at like basically record high prices. So that is actually good news.
Yeah, I will take that. I am actually kind of upset now that I'm not cooking Thanksgiving dinner this year because I feel like
really?
last time we hosted, it was extremely expensive to get a turkey.
Was it 2022?
I think it was 2022, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is. Nailed it. But yeah, it's like everything is going up, Mark. I don't know how a family's supposed to make it through the holidays with any quarters left in their pockets.
Yeah, well, and I think these sort of Thanksgiving meal discounts from Walmart, Aldi, et cetera, they're doing this obviously because they know that people have been dealing with inflation. And this is in some ways like a gift. They are eating the cost. I interviewed a few people about this, and turkey basically every year is a loss leader, which means that it's something that gets you into the store so you can go spend money on something else. But especially this year, I mean, they are really eating the loss on turkey. Numbers that I saw from the U.S. Department of Agriculture estimated that the wholesale price for a frozen turkey this fall is something like 96 cents per pound.
Crazy.
Yeah. So like we were saying, Walmart, Target, they're, 79 cents, 88 cents per pound. So, I mean, they are just going to take a loss while expecting that people are going to splurge on something else, or that they're just going to like capture some goodwill after 2 years of, frankly, not accumulating any goodwill as they've raised prices basically all over for the last few years.
Right.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We have a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. So if you're not subscribed, please go get signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we'll catch you tomorrow.